maybe our greatest legislative accomplishment in my time to date was this past year's $1.9 billion net tax cut to the state of Mississippi with the elimination of the personal income tax with House Bill 1, what we like to call the Build Up Mississippi Act. I could spend a few minutes talking about just these things in the few minutes that I have with y'all tonight. And the folks in this room certainly helped make all of those successes possible. And I thank you for your support through those years. They're certainly worth remembering and celebrating. But I want to take just these few minutes before I introduce our keynote speaker tonight to talk about how we're not going to rest on those successes. We're going to build on them. And how the House plans to do that is to turn our full and complete legislative attention to what we believe to be the most important next step in the creation, or genesis, if you will, of the next Mississippi Bureau, of the engine, as we call it, that will continue to drive this Mississippi momentum that certainly we all feel today and can appreciate. The next big step for us in our state is education freedom for our families and our kids. That next big step should be to uplift and empower and promote what our president now calls parent power when it comes to our children and the education that they want for their kids. The policies and the details get really tricky and they get deep, and get in the weeds and all that sort of stuff. I have asked my House colleagues and those that are willing to sit down and have an open-minded listen. Those are all factors, certainly, in our school systems and our great public schools and all these other things that are flying around the topic. But if you start from the place of what parents want for their kids, the kind of education they desire for their kids, and what is best for that particular child. If you start there, when you start running that equation, if you will, I think you end up in the same place that more and more of my House colleagues have now gotten to, and that is parents know what is best for their kids. We trust them in every other area. It starts to get to be a simple equation for us. We are committed to transforming the educational landscape in Mississippi to ensure that every child in our state has access to an education that caters to the unique needs and aspirations of that particular child and his parents or her parents. We have an obligation to cultivate a future-ready learning environment that educates our children and bolsters our workforce, not only for today, but for tomorrow's economy. Education should be the powerful equalizer that we talk about a lot, especially in political circles. Yet our current system often fails and falls short of delivering quality options for all students. We can and we should do better. President Trump himself is promoting returning power over education to families instead of bureaucracies. Education freedom is a pillar, I remind my colleagues daily, in our adopted Republican Party platform. It's Chapter 7, if somebody wants to look it up for some late night reading tonight. It's been highlighted recently in President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda. And he entitles the chapter this way, America First, a return to common sense. I highly recommend it, even for you non-politicos. It's entertaining, and it's like, how did we get so far away from this, especially in our education system? As the House begins to align with President Trump's priorities in this particular area of promoting what he calls parent power, we are currently in the process in the House of developing legislation that shifts the discussion away from maybe underperforming school districts or failing school districts, the way we've always approached this problem of how do we help these people in these bad areas of our state where maybe the public education system isn't the best. We're looking at it in a fresh and new way, and it's about the child. We're going to look at the parents and the kid and what is best for them. We now have a funding formula that focuses on each and every specific child in our state. That's the way our overall education system should look at that child and that education as well. It's important for Mississippi because every child is important. There's been a lot of press recently on our education gains. We are proud of those. We celebrate those. But now is not the time to put it on cruise control. It is time to build on those successes. And I need to also thank our governor here in front of a bunch of friends and supporters for keeping his foot on the gas. He too could simply say, you know what? We've done a lot. We've had a lot of successes. He could take a victory lap the next 2 years. Nobody would probably really even question that. He's got a lot to talk about. There are a lot of trophies in the trophy case, if you will. But he has not chosen that path. Not on this issue or on others. He's not resting because he too believes in education freedom and supporting these legislative efforts. I want to thank him for that. And his support, combined with President Trump's support, is what emboldens my House members in their resolve to see true education freedom across the policy finish line in the legislature. Thank you, Governor. We have rocked the boat a little bit in our first few years in the Speaker's office. And we've moved as a state, not in the last 2 years, but because of hard-fought gains over the last 10, 12, 15 years, from in every metric, especially in the way we measure education gains, but in economic development and investment as well. We have rocked the boat a little bit, and we're going to keep rocking it. If we've, proved anything, it's that we're willing to do things and think outside the box in the House of Representatives. And on this issue, while the opposition concerns themselves with preserving institutions and the status quo, the House is going to preserve the rights of parents and the best interest of families. It is what our nation and our country is founded on, those bedrock principles. And our education system should work for our parents and our children and not the other way around. We have gotten it so backwards in the last few years. The House has proven we will not accept the status quo and the current way of doing things just because those are the way that things have always been done. I'm extremely proud of my House colleagues, many of who are here tonight and have been champions on so many of these issues that we've talked about. It's easy for me to get up here and talk about it and send them down to those raucous committee meetings or those hearings where the bullets are flying and that sort of thing. But I need to thank them here publicly in front of you all as well. They've done a tremendous job. Many of them have been introduced and stood up for you tonight, and they do deserve those accolades and your support as they continue to fight these real fights that are truly worth putting the work in. I'm proud of the way the House has been the driver on those big issues the last couple of years. We studied the issues. We found a little bit of success working out of session night and day in the off season to get it right, so that when we get there in January, what may look like to some people is a quick trigger. My folks have been studying it for 8 and 10 months. They're ready to put all of that into legislation, meaningful and robust legislation. And when we start the legislative session, whatever that is, specifically on this topic of school choice, we will be ready. We will continue to champion those bold new initiatives to uplift our communities, strengthen our families, and build a brighter future for Mississippi. I want to thank this group for your advocacy efforts to build on those successes and for your steadfast support for common sense, conservative policies that, as our governor so aptly put, they work. They actually work. And it's what our voters expect, and it's what so many have started to demand. Thank you, Douglas, for your support you've shown the House, especially these last few years. And thank you for organizing this great event tonight as we recognize and celebrate conservatives' success in Mississippi. But I want to tell you, there's more to come. This next shoe to drop on school choice could be the next big springboard for our state, where others continue to sit up and take notice around the country and say, you know what? They got it going on in Mississippi. And my colleagues will tell you, when we go out of state now to legislative conferences, there were a lot of years where, number one, people certainly didn't care what we were doing and didn't want to talk to us. And a lot of times we hoped they didn't ask us questions. That's not the case anymore. It's easy to go to a meeting now and put our stuff up on the screen, and you kind of feel that little bit of pride, and you start poking your chest out a little bit and say, it feels good. That momentum is real, and it is there. I want to tell y'all a little bit about our keynote speaker tonight. It's my honor to introduce him. He's one of the most respected conservative voices in the country. Rich Lowry brings his sharp analysis to the political discussion through his writing and his commentary. Lowry's the editor-in-chief of National Review, the nation's premier conservative journal. He was selected to lead the National Review by its founder, William F. Buckley. Under his guidance, it has grown from a print magazine to a vibrant digital property. Lowry writes a syndicated column for King Features. He appears on TV programs such as Fox News Sunday and battles them well on Meet the Press. His most recent book, The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. It makes the case for the enduring importance of nationalism. He began his career as a research assistant for Charles Krotthorpe. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give a warm Mississippi welcome to Mr. Rich Lowry.